Hey, it's Pete. Welcome to Stock Trading Pro. I have a really special video for you today. Have you ever wondered what it is that a professional trader knows, someone who makes money consistently, reliably, with very little stress, versus somebody who is kind of going out of their mind and just can't seem to put the pieces together? In today's video, we're going to answer that question for you. It's roughly 12 minutes, and I'm taking you behind the scenes into a recent game plan meeting that we have every day inside of our community, which kind of turned into a coaching call, which kind of really turned into a lot of motivation and really challenging everybody on the call to level up and understand the difference between what they might be missing and how to get exactly what they want so they could see their account grow day after day, week after week, and probably more specifically month after month. So we really get into it. I started to get a little bit loud and excited because these are the really kind of topics that I love to teach because they can make a really big difference in your trading. So make sure you take notes, watch the entire thing. If you have any comments, definitely leave a comment below the video. And if you find this kind of stuff valuable, please do me a favor, hit subscribe and smash that like button, and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much. If you didn't happen to catch the conversation that I had with David Faris yesterday, and I think I keep coming back to the video. This is an important thing because it's something that I talk about all the time and probably maybe gets not absorbed enough. I know some members of the community have been here for a while now, are fully on board. But first, obviously, I went into yesterday expecting the financial stocks to bounce, even though they had that bearish order flow. The first trade I took in Citigroup yesterday was a losing trade. I had decent share size on it because I thought it was going to follow through, broke out of the opening range, pulled back, and then the tape started to change and got back above VWAP. And I put the trade on almost exactly VWAP, and the opening price were basically the same price. And then it turned into a home run trade even after the first trade lost money quickly. So I just can't express this strongly enough to everybody. And I'll just use some simple numbers. If the original part of the trade is 300 shares, and that's what you want in the first piece, and it moves in your favor, great. You can start to manage the trade. Using those numbers, it pulled against me dramatically, but I love the idea. I built the conviction up in the idea, and I still had, the 1/3 piece in my position summary, and I'm like, I still love this idea. I'm either going to take a small loss on the balance because I got out of the first 2/3 of it, or it's going to finally work out, and it did. And the one trade made the entire day yesterday, and obviously was still looking for some follow through. So that mental part of trading and being comfortable with accepting risk, scaling back. And either it's going to end up being a small loss on the balance, or you have it in your position summary and it follows through. Yes, that was a great example of it yesterday, that you don't have to be right. You have to be right with the right shares at the right time. So I took the loss on the first piece. And, obviously we'll take a look here. This was the opening range breakout right here early in the day. So obviously right there, right there. Burst through and then got absolutely shellacked. But then I'm like, all right, I still love the idea. And then the opening price was right there. So I actually, ironically, this was the opening price, the high and the opening range breakout. Here's the opening price. So we trade above the opening price, pause here, and VWAP was actually right at that same spot. So I just put the shares back on that I had over here. So I'm sorry, here on the opening range. So you can see I bought them on the opening range, pulled back, got out here. So again, just putting it in so everybody has complete context. Got out there because the breakout candle should hold. So I got out there and it kept going down. But then it rallied right back to the opening price and paused right there between the opening price and the opening range breakout and put the shares back on basically at the same spot. So, look, I mean, I know there's obviously a lot of stuff going on. Pam's talking in about Russia and all that stuff. I don't have any concerns. I just want to make that clear. We had a long conversation yesterday about should you trade the news? Should you pay attention to the news? Should you listen to the news while the market's unfolding? I know all that stuff's important, but I'm not going to change my opinion because of something that came out on the news. I'm not. If you were listening to the news, you'd be short selling the hell out of the market as soon as Russia invaded the Ukraine. And the market has basically been up since that happened. So if you weren't in the community yesterday, we had a pretty long conversation about it. Do you listen to the news while the market's open? Do you pay attention to the headlines? And it was a good conversation. Everybody had different opinions, which is obviously the whole point of the community. But I just want to bring it back, and this is no disrespect to anybody. What I'm talking about here has nothing to do with all of that other stuff. What I'm talking about here is a trading lesson around managing trades to make money. Does everybody understand that? And Pam, no disrespect to you about Citigroup and their exposure to Russia. This has nothing to do with that. And I just want to make sure everybody understands that. I'm not talking about building an argument around global events here. And all due respect to you, Pam, this is a conversation about making money based on, I love the idea. The trade didn't work out on my initial entry. I took the loss, still had some of the shares. The idea validated again, and that one trade made my entire day. Does everybody understand that? Because that's probably one of the most important things you could learn from me personally. I could give a hoot about my win-loss percentage. The only thing I care about is, did I make money again today? The last 2 weeks have been absolutely amazing to trade. Every experienced trader that I know doing exactly what I just told you is killing it right now, because this volatility, if you have a strategy and you're disciplined to follow it, it's amazing right now. And I want to say something else too, because I think I want to make sure I use the right word. I think it's misunderstood. I think that a lot of people need to understand this. I'm sorry. I don't know any other way to say it. I'm not even trading size right now simply because of the indecision in the market, but I'm making good money almost every day right now because of the volatility. So you don't need to trade size in this market. You certainly don't need to hold on to trades and hope they come back in this market, because there's so much indecision, but there's a lot of opportunity. So I'm making money right now, even with reduced share size. And look, especially members who've been here for a while, I hardly ever talk about money, because I want to talk more about, are we doing the right thing? Because everybody in the community has different skill levels, and I never want to make somebody feel bad, that's a question, like, you might not have the depth of knowledge of that. Like, talking about money too much will make somebody who's brand new feel really bad about their current level. And I never want to do that. I want to inspire everybody to ask questions at the level they're at now. The reason I've been talking about money a lot lately is because I'm making it. Like, there's money to be made right now. And I want to make you aware. Like, I see too many comments in the market. The market's a mess. And yeah, it's challenging, but step up. There's money to be made. But here's the thing. I am not saying you need to trade big size at this. There's pockets of opportunity, but there's money to be made, even trading 100 or 200 shares in the right stocks. And Citigroup's a $57 stock. I'm not talking about trading Tesla. I'm talking about trading stocks that have readable volatility that we built that argument for. So I want you to know I got your back. I'm telling you, the first trade I took yesterday lost money. And yesterday morning, I also said, I've been losing money in the morning. The first 30 minutes to 40 minutes, like exactly that kind of trade the last week and a half has been like, put the trade on, get punched in the face, down money in the first half hour. And then you got to mentally recoup, get back on solid footing, and then get to the point where you're like, oh, there it is. There's the trade that I expected to have happen on the first one. Good thing I managed risk on that first one, because now I'm going to make money on this one because I'm getting follow through. I think Mara was a good example of that yesterday, where that long just imploded quickly, but then make it back in some other opportunities. So I want to get out of your head that the thought process, whether it's day trading or swing trading, that you have to be trading size right now. Learn while this volatility, learn and earn while this volatility is good. And you'll be so happy you did. I don't want to use double negatives, but don't be afraid right now. If you know what you're looking at, if you trust yourself to do what you're supposed to do, get in there and mix it up. Trade 50 shares, trade 100 shares, but trade. I just walked you through a trade that lost money for me on the first idea and made the entire day, will probably make the week. after the first trade lost money. We're talking about real trading here. We're not talking about the perfect moving average. We're not talking about, are you buying it 1 cent above or 3 cents above? That's such a small part of what we do. We're here to learn how to make money and be a real trader. If you ask anybody, whether it's a trader or an entrepreneur, and I know we got a bunch of entrepreneurs in our community, is every day rainbow and sunshines? Not even close. Some days you wish you stayed in college, but you push through that and you learn from every experience that you have. And like, I think Jane's on the call right now. I said this to Jane last week where she had, I forgot what the stock was, but made money on it, but should have, in her opinion, made more on it. And I immediately said, write that down now. So the next time that same situation unfolds, you're learning from what just happened. Bill, again, success can be a lousy teacher because we think that we did it and we don't need to learn from it. But what we talk about is so you made 500. Maybe you should have made 1,000. How do you not know you shouldn't have made 1,000 or 1,500? You got to level up. So then just a week later, again, Jane, I'm calling you out. I keep calling you out because you posted the other day, you had 5 winning trades in the morning. That's what we're talking about, learning, but you have to trade from learn. You can't be afraid to mix it up. You just have to control the downside with smaller share size while you're learning, and you will know when it's time to level up. Go from 100 shares to 200 shares, 200 shares to 400 shares. How do you know that? Your P&L. You actually start making money. Don't start doing that just because you've been trading for a while. Do it because you've earned the right to manage your own money and scale up a little bit more. You hired yourself. Manage it properly, but you got to mix it up. I hope you listen to that beginning part of today's call and take notes and get into your own head. I'm telling you, that's the perfect example of everything that I'm trying to teach everybody in our community. It's not about win-loss percentage. It's not about being right. It's about making money. It's about managing the downside and coming back when you still believe in either the next idea or that same idea. That is a perfect illustration of the spirit of everything I'm trying to teach everybody in our community. And I desperately want you to understand that from me, because you can do this, but you first have to know what you're looking at. And then number 2, you have to trust yourself to take the right action all the time. The first thing you'll be amazed at is you keep your losses small. Then the second thing, you start to ask more questions about how do I make more on the winners. But it only works if you learn, ask questions, take action, and then ask better questions. That's the magic of what we do in our community. And I just walked you through the trades that I had from yesterday. And I know David Farris and I were talking about walking through these financial stocks over the last couple of weeks. And we made the call before the market opened yesterday. 2 weeks ahead of the Fed, you're going to start to see those stocks perk up. And yesterday, one idea probably made the week just by doing the research, the game planning, and coming up with the argument, the order flow assessment of everything that we do. So I don't normally come on video on these calls. We just go through the ideas and that kind of stuff. So again, I just want to inspire you to understand this is all about trading. It's not about being the best chart reader in the world. Chart reading is not the most complicated part. My video just got blurry for a reason. I don't know what just happened. So anyway, on top of that, what I want to make sure I remind everybody is this. Okay, so we have our next coaching call this evening. So just talked about a bunch of stuff. Make sure you hop on tonight's call. There's got to be some questions out there. All right, got to be some questions out there. So again, on average, how many trades do you place? It depends on the market. It completely depends on the market. It completely depends on the market conditions. Again, a lot of members in our community have been here for a while. No, I will be the first person to tell you I've reduced my share size. I will be the first person to tell you I've cut back on my trading. But I will also be the first person, like I'm doing right now, telling you to belly up to the bar and order an 8-ounce instead of a 16-ounce. Get in there and get going and get feedback on how good you are, which will come to you in the form of results. Then that feedback, you come back into the coaching call, the next coaching call. You ask questions in Discord based on the feedback that you just paid for by buying that stock and how you managed it and what happened next. That's what makes our community different. We got a question the other day out to somebody on our team saying, do I get customized help? you bet your ass you get customized help, but you got to ask questions. If you're going to hide in the background and not ask one question for 30 days, shame on you, because I want to help you. You need to step up. Stop with the BS excuse that I don't know enough. I need to learn more. That's why we're here. I want you to ask questions so that I can help. You're not in high school. You're not a wallflower against the wall. You're not, get that out of there. This is Wall Street. This is an amazing, amazing community. Ask anybody in here who's been here more than a couple of weeks, never mind a couple of years. I'm so grateful we have people in here our second year with us. You will get help from me, Aldo, Sari, and other members of the community, but come out of your shell and stop acting like you're 14 years old and you're embarrassed. Ask questions. We want to help. Time goes too quickly. All these experiences have to compile for you to say, like, again, Jane, again, this is exactly what we're talking about. We were talking about run, and I went right at her and I said, learn from that. The next time it unfolds, you need to use that knowledge of that trade saying, I didn't make enough. How do I make that on the next trade? That's what we do here. And I'm telling you, I want you to ask questions so I can give you personal help, but you have to step up and ask questions. So right there, just that's what it's about. Don't be afraid. Mix it up a little bit. And you got to get to the point where you trust yourself to take action. That's what our community is about. And that's why I get louder. I get louder when we start talking about things, because I went through this stuff, and I wish I had this kind of stuff with I'm pointing over here to the community, that there is a spirit of helping each other that makes you okay with asking questions. But it ultimately comes down to asking, trading, getting feedback, asking questions, and then trusting yourself to take the right action based on the fact that you just learned something new. Having all that information from your experience and not using it, such a big difference between having that experience and taking the right action from having experience and then just keep saying, I'm just going to keep trying to figure it out. You are figuring it out by placing trades, but you got to ask questions, because on a day that you lost $100, that could have been a great day because it was a really tough day. On a day you made $500, that might have been a bad day because you should have made $1,500. But you don't know that unless you mix it up and ask questions. All right. So let's get into everybody's game plan. Don't forget, tonight's coaching call.